following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, and Newy Scruggs.
It's Thursday. Welcome into the Players Lounge, everyone.
Everybody laughing early. All right, you know.
That boy say he's gonna be late.
I'm not gonna say nothing, but some trains don't run on time. Okay, some trains don't run on time. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Hey, you know how we all like the movie Life, right? We all like the movie Life. We think it had a decent parts in there. Do you remember when Eddie Murphy and Martin were in jail, and that boy Martin said, "Man, I got an interview." When Eddie Murphy said, well, "You gonna be late?
You gonna be late to that interview, man."
Church, hey, welcome, bro. Welcome.
I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna try not to sweat as hard. You know what I'm saying? Coming in hot like I was, man. Last time, man, I had to put the shirt over the back thing, and it was real.
Oh, that's what that was. They calling you out on Twitter?
They called me. I didn't even know they could see that angle, but now I see that they can. So, got to be on point.
You are in the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by two former Dallas Cowboys safeties, Barry Church and Danny McCray. Fellas, they are telling us there's nothing to be concerned about since right tackle Lel Collins left practice with a minor neck injury and a minor arm injury. Last year we were told, hey, it's going to be okay. He'll be back. He never played a snap last year. So, fellas, your concern level for Collins is what, Church?
All right. Well, I'm a little nervous because anytime you're dealing with a neck type of issue, that's never nothing to play around with. But, we do have a great training staff here. So, and they say there's nothing to worry about. Then I'm going to go ahead and be with them and say there's nothing to worry about. Hopefully it was just one of those stingers. McCray, like how sometimes, you banging a little bit in the trenches. Sometimes your neck go the wrong way and it kind of sends those shock nerves through your arm and down your leg. So hopefully he's just dealing with a slight stinger, nothing that, concerns going forward. I would still like to see him play in this Houston game. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I would still like to see him play in that game, seeing as though he didn't play a whole snap last year. So we got to knock that rust off. I got to see him in there. He was in the first couple preseason games. So I don't think it's nothing crazy to worry about. But like I said earlier, that neck, man, that's never nothing to play with. I mean, Van Der Esch knows it better than anybody. That's never nothing to play with. So I'm going to go ahead and put my trust in Jim Maurer, Brett, and them boys at the training staff and say there's nothing to worry about, and hopefully we see him in Houston.
I just got a quick question for you, bro. So what was wrong with Tyron last year? Why did he miss so many games?
I guess that was that neck, right?
That was a neck injury. Wasn't that right? And answer this question for me. What do you know about stingers, right? You don't just have one.
Yeah,
this
they
is
reoccurring.
Something that is reoccurring. Once you get one, it gets you throughout the whole season. Every time you get hit that way, you get that same feeling.
And they banging every play.
Every snap. Mm-hmm. Okay? Number 3, Newy and Church. Who did I say we should have drafted?
I knew this was coming.
What position did I say we should have drafted? And the reasons why. We had a left tackle who was going to be out. We had a right tackle who had missed the whole entire season, didn't play a snap. And look at it. We ain't even made it to the season yet. We in the same position we were in last year talking about, hey, man, hey, don't worry about it. It's all good. Let me tell you something. We played enough football to know, like you said, neck injuries are real injuries. They should always be a concern. Mm-hmm. There's no time when you can say, hey, man, this dude has a stinger, he has a neck injury. It's not going to bother him for the rest of the season. That's one of the things you buckle down and you say, all right, this is something I have to deal with for the entirety of the season, and hopefully it can heal after, because you don't get a chance to heal during the regular season. So I'm very concerned. Very concerned. And we already been worried about our depth at O-line anyway.
This is true. Who's going to be that swing tackle? I mean, you going to throw Terrence Steele or Brandon Knight out there?
Man, flashbacks will not let me get me and you, we get together, we get out there and kick step a little bit.
Get blown through.
Yeah, I'm concerned, though, Newy. I'm very concerned.
I am skeptical. And I think based on what we saw last year, any fans out there should be skeptical as well. Yes, they're telling us this. But as Parcells used to tell us all the time, all I can go by is what I see. And last year we were told things, hey, this person's going to be all right, this person's going to be okay, this person will be dead. We haven't seen it. I was at camp when Mike McCarthy's like, Dak should be back in a couple days. When he ain't back with the shoulder strain. So, and they can say they're being cautious, but at this point in time, I have every right to be skeptical, and I think fans should be as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, even with that injury to Collins, who we gonna put out there? Like that's the thing. That's the thing that gets me as nervous as anything. Is like, hopefully, everything is all right, and like I said, there's nothing wrong or there's nothing slight about the neck. But who's his backup? Who's gonna be that swing tackle? I mean, we got the rookie Josh Ball, we got Terrence Steele, Brandon Knight in there. I don't know if those guys are ready. I mean, especially seeing what we saw so far in this preseason. They played all right, but it ain't like they're mainstays. It ain't like I'm very comfortable with Dak being there behind them. So we got to make some choices here. I mean, if Collins is more hurt than what it seems, we might have to go out there and get somebody to be that swing tackle. Because, like I said, I'm not too sure that Terrence Steele or Brandon Knight or the young Josh Ball in there can withstand a full 17 game stretch at that right tackle. I mean, that's a demanding position. So we shall see. But what makes me the most nervous is his backups. I mean, what you think about that, McCray?
Yeah, listen, it's concerning on multiple levels for me, right? Because we're worried about the depth at O-line already, right? We've seen Knight get out there. We've seen what they've been able to do and their lack thereof when it comes to production, right? And now you have to worry about our offensive coordinator again, right? Because every time we have one of these injuries to a tackle, we always sit here on the show and we say, how are we going to help this guy, right, throughout the game? Are we going to put a tight end out there? Are we going to chip, are we going to run some misdirection to fool these defensive ends? And every week we come back and say, why didn't we do it, right? That's so true. Now we have that issue. And then we also have the issue of, whatever they say, right? If Collins comes back and he plays week 1, we know, like I said, that at some point in the season, this stinger is going to come back. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to be solid with the backup because he's going to get some playing time this year. So it's going to be very important for us to find that backup guy who is for sure going to get some serious reps, and the other team is going to be keyed in on him once he gets in the game, so he better be ready to go.
And me and Newy were talking about this yesterday. We got a long stretch from that bye week to the end of the season. It's 11 games. They got 11 games straight where there's no break. You got it, Sunday, all right in a row. So there's going to be a lot of games out there for these boys. And if we're already talking about injuries and we haven't even gotten out of the preseason yet, it's a little concerning for your boy. But I'm gonna put my trust in Britt Brower and Jim Maurer and Britt Brown and them boys, and to get that man right and get him ready for the Bucs.
No, let me tell you something. Church can say all he wants to about the trust in the training staff. Ain't nothing they can do about a stinker. All right, it's nothing. They can be the best, whatever. Unless you are a magician, those things once they come, they're happening. You probably will still get a stinger. We're not even playing the game for 5 years. If you got hit a certain way, you would get a stinger from the same position that you had 10 years ago.
This is true.
There's nothing you can do about it.
All right, we've forgotten about Ty Nsekhe here, okay? He is the guy they signed to be the swing tackle. He's missed some time in training camp dealing with the knee, but to me, that would be the first guy I would look for if something would happen with Collins. Josh Ball is not ready, so don't even, in my opinion, put him in the conversation. Also, while I was there at training camp, had opportunity to talk to Terrence Steele. He came over and spoke with the media, and he says he feels that he's made a nice leap because he had a full offseason, because he's had playing reps last year. So I look at Nsekhe and Steele and think that, okay, they've got some good options here. And, oh, by the way, it's the National Football League. I don't care who you are. Anybody who's losing a starting tackle in this league, their backups are going to be it's going to be a fall off huge. So you're just going to have to deal with it there. So that's it. And let me tell you something. Okay.
A question for you, because we're talking about the right tackle. How's our left tackle performing out there? How when you see him at practice, is he still the guy? Is he Tyron Smith of what, 2010, like Church said? Is he that guy, or are you seeing him, slip up a little bit, maybe get beat off the line, or he's just fantastic?
Is Tyron Smith still all decade? I think he has something to prove. We got to talk to him the other night after the Cowboys game. The Cowboys practice with the fans there. First off, he looks great. Okay, then he looks great. And I said to him, how many more Pro Bowls do you think you have in you? And Tyron doesn't like to go there. And we also talked about his, hey, being out last year, have you thought about, where your career is and what you've done? He says he's just going to take it game by game. And ultimately, to answer your question, Danny, Tyron Smith is still one of the better left tackles in the National Football League. And if healthy, I expect him to have a Pro Bowl season. So we just got to see if they're healthy. But that is, the life of any left tackle in the National Football League. And I'll say this, man, if you guys start checking Twitter, you start looking at other teams, you go to a place like Cincinnati, they got questions about their football team on the offensive line. I can't remember who I just saw that was about to sign Jason Peters to play left tackle. And I'm like, wow, you signed Jason Peters? I mean, you're really reaching right there. So, this is an issue across this league, man. I mean, even with the Rams, and the Rams have issues and question marks at their offensive line spot. So I think sometimes we look at the Cowboys and that's all we look at. And you think, oh man, this guy here, this guy there, even Connor Williams, is Connor Williams going to be good? Connor Williams would be a starter on basically 20 other teams in the National Football League, and they'd love to have him. It's just with the Cowboys, you've got this high standard because you got a Hall of Famer and Zach Martin who's putting together a Hall of Fame resume, and you judge him off that. You judge him off of Nate Newton. You judge him off of Larry Allen. I mean, there has been some excellent guard play with the Cowboys the last 25 years. So, is Connor that? No, but you know what? This dude is a good starter in the National Football League. And I think so many times we can kind of forget that a lot of teams in this league have issues on the O-line.
But the difference in between us and those other teams are we've paid our two tackles, right and left, and we went through this last year, yes. Right? This is a consecutive thing that's going on, right? Tyron has been injured in consecutive years, going back before last year. Lael missed the entire season last year. Entire season. We have not made it through training camp, and he already has another issue. So other teams may be going through stuff like that, but these are two guys that we've paid. We found the guys that we want, and we can't keep them on the field and healthy for us to have our full O-line so we can get back to moving that line of scrimmage, having Zeke be productive and protecting Dak back there.
Are you comfortable with what we have now at the backups for the right tackle and left tackle? Are you comfortable with Terrence Neal Knight, Gesicki being one of those swing tackles?
Man, just based off what I've seen from two of those guys in the past, absolutely not. I think
that's fair.
I think Gesicki. I think he is probably going to earn the right to see if he can go out there and be productive and be that swing tackle. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, based off what I've seen, I'm not. I'm not.
Newy,
kind of like backup quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. Newy, you comfortable with the situation?
To me, I'm looking at how Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore and Joe Philbin handle the situation. Let's say that you don't have Collins out there for any time at all, and you got to go into Gesicki, or you got to go with Steele. Then make sure number 87, Jeremy Sprinkle, is out there as well, helping block. Just help these guys. That's what you've got to do. In the past, they've been unwilling to help some of these guys and leave them out there one-on-one. Just stop doing that. Make sure that the tackle has some help, because – you know what? If I've just got CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper in a route, I think I could win, and got 21 in the backfield. I think I could win a lot of matchups. And so to me, it's how you go ahead and utilize these guys. We got to take a break here. When we come back, I feel that Jaylon Smith is getting the T-Pain treatment from Cowboy fans. I do. I'm going to defend number 9. I'm about to defend number 9 for all its vitriol that he's been getting. This is the Players Lounge. It's Danny McCray, Barry Church. I'm Newy Scruggs. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Hey, don't miss your chance to see the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium this season. A limited number of single-game standing room only tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at DallasCowboys.com/tickets. You're in the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by two former Dallas Cowboys safeties who were undrafted, made the football team, Danny McCray and Barry Church. So,
Hey, Church got a question for you. He wants to know what you were doing during training camp. Did you take everything with you?
Like, the shelves are empty. I remember before we looked back there was books lined up and down, Emmy Awards. I mean, there was what's going on with the backsplash you got going on there? It's looking a little empty right now. You all right over there?
We are undergoing some changes, baby. We're trying to remodel. So it's all good.
He got his motorcycle helmet up there. His racing helmet, because Mr. Fancy was out there at the NASCAR, driving around. He invited us the day after.
Yeah, really.
Boy ain't touched the hoop rock in about 10 years. Look at that.
Let me see the jumper. Let me see the goose.
This is what we're doing.
Louis out there playing tennis. He ain't touched the basketball in about 10 years.
Okay.
No.
And I digress. Let's get back to it.
So you were saying Jaylon Smith?
What happened to that fantasy football trophy you had?
Wow.
I had to get you, man. My bad, dude. I had to get you, though, baby. I love it, man. I love you.
You guys are so black. Man. Just got to come out with jokes and beating up folks. I got a scheduled thing here that I'm trying to get through for the show, but we got to get
thanks CB for that.
Here,
thanks CB for that, man. I ain't snitching on nobody, but I'm snitching on him.
Yeah. CB that low-key Bill Burr back there. You want to tell behind your back. Okay, I see you here.
He took all the books back to the library.
The bat.
Man, we gotta get off you. Okay. We off you, man. We off you. Though. My bad. That's on us, man. That's on us right there.
We miss you, Newy. That's all.
I did give the fantasy football trophy back. I did.
Finally. They came knocked on your door. That's what.
We gonna need that.
We need that back, player.
Well, it was COVID. It was COVID. So, and then the person who had it can't put it at their desk because they don't have them working at the desk. I was like, man, just take it on home, So let them rent it for a few months and try and get that bad boy back. So that's what happened to the fantasy trophy here.
Man.
And I got my draft Saturday. I got the number 2 pick in overall draft. So I got to figure out who I'm going to take. But we're trying to get the fantasy football trophy back over to NBC 5.
Okay.
Can we talk about Jaylon Smith now? Are we done with the jokes on me?
We done, man. Let's make back to swiping those swipes, man. Clear eye view, baby. Let's get it, man.
More jokes. More joking on Jaylon. Okay.
All right, dude. My bad. Let's get
I'm not here. I am not here to joke on Jaylon. By the way, have you seen the Netflix special called This Is Pop?
No.
If you have, it's very good. And there's this episode about T-Pain and auto-tune. And T-Pain was flying to an award show, and he's on the plane, and the stewardess comes over and says, hey, Usher would like to have a word with you. So T-Pain and Usher are friends, and T-Pain's like, oh, yeah, let me go over here and talk to him. And Usher's got this concerned look on his face. And he says over to T-Pain, hey, man, you really effed up music. And it was because T-Pain was using the auto-tune. And so many other people were using auto-tune. So folks like Usher were getting mad because like, hey, man, I'm out here singing, using my voice. And you guys out here, messing up the game. Got Jennifer Lopez making hit records with auto-tune. So T-Pain had that song with Kanye West. Kanye West did a whole album on auto-tune, but people blame T-Pain. And they said, you're the problem. You're what's wrong. And he said, man, I went through a 4-year depression after that conversation with Usher because he was doubting himself and his craft.
Jay-Z went at him too.
And I look at social media.
Jay-Z came out with the death auto-tune.
Jay-Z. Yes, the whole song. Yes. Where he says, get back to rapping, you're T-Paining too much.
Yes.
And that's a cold line. So T-Pain talked about how, man, all this affected him. And I sit here and I see all this media hate for Jaylon Smith and that he should be the fourth linebacker and trade him and cut him. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if this brother is reading this stuff, he about to have a T-Pain moment where everybody's mad at him. And I'm sitting around here and I'm thinking, here's a guy that has led the team in tackles the last 2 years. He has played. And if anything, the drafting of Micah Parsons and also the improvements in what we're seeing from someone like a Keanu O'Neal, that your linebacker room is going to get better. And if Lake Van Der Esch is back to where he was last year, yes, Jaylon is going to be most likely your fourth linebacker. But is that a bad thing? Aren't those guys right now playing better? Don't they have a potential to give Dan Quinn more of what he wants? Doesn't this make the linebacker room better? It ain't Jaylon's fault that they paid him. They threw that money at you, you're going to go ahead and take it. But fans are just beating this guy up, and I feel like, man, we treating Jay like T-Pain, man. Why we got to treat Jay like T-Pain?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I don't think it's fair, right? We make fun of him a little bit for the advertisements and the swiping and stuff, but that's his swag. And his swag got him paid, right? Yeah. People began to love Jaylon Smith. But what we know about the NFL is a what have you done for me lately lead, all right? At first, it was a feel-good story. Jaylon Smith is back. Everything he overcame, and then he had a good season. They were like, okay, all that's behind him, all right? We don't care about none of that. Can you play ball now? And then you saw a little bit of regression, and I blame a lot of that on the past defensive coordinator who set these guys back so much, man. And thank God for Dan Quinn coming in here and getting these guys right. But they set them back, right? So the expectation now for Jaylon is, especially after you get paid, is to be one of the greatest. We want to see you, expand on what you did that year when we thought we had the best linebacker core in the NFL. And it just hasn't been that way. But he's still celebrating and doing his advertisements as if he had been playing that way last season. I think that's the issue, is like, hey, man, stop all the celebrating and get back to what you were doing that allowed you to do those type of celebrations. Make those tackles. We want to see you break down and be able to make open field tackles and run sideline to sideline. If you're not doing that, then stop with the celebrating. I'm not hating on them. Make your money, man. Do you. But then you got to be open to the criticism that comes your way.
That is true. And, Spider-Man said it best, man, or his Uncle Ben or whatever his name was. With great power comes great responsibility. And when you get the bag like that, he got 65 M's. When you get that bag like that, people are going to expect great things out of you. And he provided that. That first year he went to the Pro Bowl 2018, everything was on fire. He was doing great, returning fumbles for touchdowns. He was making great splash plays. And then as the years went on, it just slowly went down and down as far as his production, as far as making splash plays out there, being that key defender out there. And then now you got a new rookie coming in, the brand new toy that everybody's kind of like, oh man, this guy's on fire, and he's actually playing well too, and he's making these other linebackers seem a lot slower. But this guy runs a 4.3. This ain't like there's a regular guy out there. This dude's running a 4.3, so he's gonna make other guys look slow out there. But I think the main thing with the fan base about Jaylon Smith is when you don't play up to your price tag, people are going to get on you about that. And is it fair? No, because like Newy said, he didn't say, he didn't tell him, he didn't force him to pay him. He took the bread. But with taking that bread, your resume has to keep getting different each and every year. And he hasn't updated his resume. He's still living off of that Pro Bowl 2018 season. So I get why the fans are getting on him a little bit. Is it kind of harsh? Yes, because it gets personal. They take it outside of football sometimes. I can see getting on his play, but when you get on everything else about it, that's a little bit too much. But if the guy's not playing to his price tag, hey, you're gonna get what you get. People are gonna get at you.
Okay, Church. I'm gonna interject on this. When you talk about playing to the price tag, it's not like he set the market at his position in the National Football League or even the highest paid player in Cowboys history. We've seen guys who've hit that mark here recently who have not played up to the level, and they don't get that same heat and same vitriol from Cowboy fans that Jaylon does.
That's true. You're talking about DeMarcus Lawrence, right? He only had like 5 sacks, but if you look at the Pro Football Focus, everybody's, big grades on there. He's still one of the highest graded defensive linemen. If you look at Jaylon Smith's Pro Football Focus, what everybody grades on, he's one of the lowest rated linebackers. And are we saying he's making, terrible plays out there? He's not going to help the team at all? No. But if you're getting paid that much, your play has to go match it.
Who was the last linebacker to get paid by the Cowboys? Because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking Jaylon Smith set the Cowboys market for linebackers. All right, they let Anthony Hitchens get out of here. He won a Super Bowl. If another safety comes in and signs a deal higher than yours, and they let you go, then they set the market for the Cowboys as safety. Everybody's gonna be like, we don't care what other teams that play safeties. The Cowboys have never been in the paying safeties, maybe since Darren Woodson.
Yeah, I think he was the last one.
So if they pay a safety, even if he's not the highest paid safety, the expectation for that guy is going to be higher than Jamal Adams.
Exactly.
Right?
You're the highest paid at your position in the locker room.
Yeah.
Things are going to be expected. You're expected to be the best at that position. And right now, being fourth, being the fourth most productive, and you're the highest paid, it just doesn't add up.
I also think that fans are looking for a reason to kind of explain why Jaylon Smith's production has fell off. Right? It's like it can't just be the scheme. It can't be this. Oh, well, now it has to be that he's not focused, and that always comes back to the Cowboys. Right? Anytime you see a Cowboy go out and do some type of marketing or do some type of commercial, and then we don't have a good season, what do they say? Oh, they're not focused. Right? They focus on. They focus on the brand. They not focus on whatever. I'm like, you could do both, right? Yeah. Just because you shoot a commercial, that ain't gonna make you miss a tackle.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You just didn't have a good season, right?
Tony Romo went through that. If Tony was caught playing golf somewhere, everybody would get on him and say that he wasn't focused at all here. But I go back to Jaylon Smith and the fact that the Cowboys decided to pay him. This is really on management and management's decision in what to do. They gave Ezekiel Elliott $90 million. Then they go hire a head coach who doesn't want to run the football. And last year, he didn't have a good season at all. Amari Cooper gets paid a whole lot of money last year. And he didn't have the season when you talk about what you got paid for. I mean, so I'm telling you, man, the bar for Jaylon and even just the way we choose. This is what I used to say on my old NBC Sports Radio show. It's interesting on who we choose to condemn and who we choose to forgive. So we've forgiven Ezekiel Elliott. We've forgiven Cooper. We've forgiven Tank. But Jaylon Smith, you're damned. And that's how Cowboy fans on Twitter treat this guy. He's the first dude to walk out of here, get a whole bag, and you say, huh? I mean, Brandon Carr got $50 million. He wasn't a $50 million corner. He's not Miles Austin got paid a whole lot of money, and he was never the same player. Jaylon Smith is really along the line of the Cowboy mistakes that we can look at in the last 15 years and say, did you overpay this player? It's happened, and it happens with every team. Every team does.
Hold on. With the exception of Miles Austin, because he was doing some crazy stuff, on the field when he got paid. Miles Austin was out there getting 200 yards this game, 150 the next game. So I'm gonna take him out of that category and say when they paid him, he was worth it. And then it kind of fell off a little bit.
I think the biggest difference between those examples you had, the Ezekiel Elliott's, the DeMarcus Lawrence's, the Miles Austins, all those things is the difference is Jaylon Smith got a new shiny toy behind him. And everybody's going to want to play with that new shiny toy, which is Parsons. So they're going to make every excuse and oh man, he missed a tackle here, he just can't play. They're going to go ahead and get on him because they see what they have behind him, and they want that new shiny toy to go ahead and play. So they're going to sit there and do everything they can to get, Mr. Clear-Eyed View, Jaylon Smith up out of there. Which is it fair? No, but that's the fan base we live in.
Well, that's also the NFL.
That's it. That's true too.
If you got a guy behind you pushing you and he's making better plays than you, and you're not making those plays, that's the league, man.
That's what it is.
No matter how much money you got, it's always going to be somebody that's creeping up behind you trying to take your spot, and eventually they always win out. With the exception of a Tom Brady, it always happens to where somebody is younger, faster, bigger, stronger, and they come and they take your position because you got older and father time.
Especially when you're a first rounder.
Absolutely.
They're going to have to play them. I mean, they're going to have to.
Well, I think the Cowboys have put themselves in a very good position because Jaylon Smith hears it. He knows it. He's got to have a good year. If he wants to come back next year, he's going to need to have a good year. And if he wants to leave and get a contract after he leaves here, he's going to need to have a good year. And Leighton Vander Esch, the team said, we're not going to pick up your fifth-year option. So he's got something to play for. And to me, the Cowboys have put themselves in a nice position. Oh, by the way, Danny, you weren't here. And I said this about Jaylon Smith and the linebacker group. You got 17-game season. There's a stretch where you're going to play 11 games in a row. They're going to need all these guys.
Yeah.
Okay? They're going to need all these guys. Keanu Neal has an injury history. Leighton Vander Esch has an injury history. Jabril Cox and Micah Parsons, these are rookies. And Micah Parsons didn't play football last year. So this sense that, cut Jaylon Smith or trade him, you're going to need all of these guys over the course of 17 games during this season. So it's no reason to cut the guy or anything like some of the drastic things we're seeing. It's just, man, let this thing play out, and let's have some faith that Dan Quinn is going to be able to utilize these guys correctly. Now, speaking of that, Tampa Bay is the first game. So you're going to have a nickel defense with your linebackers out here because they've got some outstanding weapons with three wide receivers and Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown. Then you got Rob Gronkowski at tight end. Also got O.J. Howard coming back at tight end for Tampa as well. So who are your nickel linebackers right now, in your opinion, for this Tampa Bay game? We'll start with you, Danny.
Oh, my man, Micah is definitely going to be in there.
Okay.
It's a little tough, man, because I haven't really been able to see practice. I know I've seen my man Jaylon in coverage, and I'm not liking it, right? So if I'm going to have to leave one of these linebackers in there, I'm going with 55 at the mic. I'm putting Parsons opposite of the nickel so he can play on that tight end a little bit, and I'll roll with that. Put Jordan Lewis at the slot, and we'll see what happens. And then if it doesn't work out, I'm still not putting Jaylon in. Like I'm gonna give my man Parsons some time, right? Because we can't go into this game and forget that even if Parsons doesn't perform how we expect him to, it's his first NFL game, right? Mm-hmm. So what the expectation is for him to go out there and lock down everybody. It's not realistic, all right? So give him some time. Let him get out there. This is going to be a really big test for him, a really good learning experience, and I think he'll get better from it. So put 11 out there, put 55 so he can get on playoff Lenny and then and see how it shakes out.
Look, man, when you're talking about nickel personnel, we're basically talking about the starters because that's basically what every offense is going towards nowadays. It's more spread offense. Everybody's starting in 11 personnel. Nobody's really dropping out there in 12 or 21 personnel. Everybody's in 11 So when we talk about this nickel linebacking group, we're talking about a group that's going to play probably 70% of the snaps out there. So basically your starters. And for me, I'm going to have to say my nickel tandem. Now, it's not going to happen. It ain't going to happen because I already know what it is. They ain't going to happen. But I would love to see Parsons and Keanu Neal out there. I felt like that tandem in Arizona when they played, I felt like they fed off each other great. They're both sideline to sideline guys, open field guys that can play in space. And I think they can, Keanu Neal isn't the best coverage guy that there is, but if they ask him to guard an inline tight end or a running back coming out the backfield, I think he's more than capable of doing that. So I feel like those two are our best opportunities to pretty have a good, solid nickel defense. I mean, when you talk about Keanu Neal, he's coming from safety. I'm not sure how he's going to do against the in the trenches and all that. But after watching this guy at the point of attack, he arrives at the ball with violence. I mean, it's not like leaky yardage where he's contacting the running back and the running back's falling forward for an extra 3-4 yards. This guy's stopping people dead in their tracks, or he's driving them back. So I think he has what it takes to be an every down linebacker in this league. And I think so far he's performed the best as far as open field and covering than any other guys. And then we got Parsons over there who's flying around the football. So I would love for them to see for the Cowboys to have those two guys jot out there. It's not going to happen. It's going to be LVE and Jaylon Smith going out there, and then we're going to have to go through our bumps and bruises out there until they put the other two in. But for me, that's who I would have starting out there because I feel like they give us the best opportunity to play in space, and that's where this league is going. It's all space ball.
Can you see a package where it's Neal, 55, and Parsons?
Only
and they treat Neal like a walk down safety, so he's always going to be down.
But who is he going to be? Is he going to be walked out and over the slot?
It depends on who they want him to cover.
I would say no, only because when an offense comes out and they see that package, they're going to know that if it's a pass, that defense got to be in zone. Because and it's just going to be a telltale because they're not going to have Keanu Neal, guarding a slot 1-on-1. I don't think that's a good matchup at all. So they're going to know that it's going to always be zone, and they're going to have their zone beaters out there for it. So it's going to be hard to disguise that type of package out there, but I still think that's better than.
Well, I mean, it's him playing the safety.
Oh, it's
him playing the safety, right? So you got the two safeties and a linebacker, right? But he's one of the safeties.
Okay.
And then you still had a slot out there. But
I think it'd be hard to disguise. Yeah, I think it'd be hard to disguise.
Oh, well, I mean, disguise is out.
Oh, you're just saying, period.
Yeah, but if you remember Dan Quinn, disguise was they tried a little bit, but we knew exactly what they were running, right? And they got out there and they played the coverage. So I mean, like I said, we're all dreaming. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we all know what's gonna happen.
It would be great though.
What you think about it, Newy?
So let me ask this question here, because we bring up Keanu Neal, who was with the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons face the Bucs twice a year, being NFC South teams. So how much in terms of and I know Tom Brady was there last year. It was his first year, but just an ability to have spent time prepping and watching Tampa Bay. How much do you think that factors into them putting him out on the field in a nickel package, in your opinion?
Me, not really. I think this is entirely new, and sometimes you have some guys that are out there being able to recognize some of that stuff, but it's not often. And coaches really don't plan on putting guys out there specifically for that reason, right? Yeah. It's a plus, but I don't think they will be out there just for that.
Yeah, I think he can help them out as far as letting them know. What Mike Evans likes to run, what Godwin likes to run, maybe what Howard likes to run in that tight end position. But as far as giving them the nuances and all that stuff, I don't think it'd be that big of a thing for them going forward with him being that played against Tampa Bay all those years.
All right, let's get another break in here. I've got several topics I want to get to here. We got to take a look at Hard Knocks. Your thoughts on Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott most likely not getting any snaps in the preseason. Let's dive into that. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by two former Dallas Cowboys safeties, McCray and Barry Church. This is the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
To the Players Lounge.
Dallas Cowboys training camp presented by American Airlines is back at the Star in Frisco. Watch Cowboys practice tomorrow, August 20th. You can also watch it on the 27th and the 28th inside the Ford Center at the Star. Admission is free. Parking is free as well. .com for details. You're in the Players Lounge. Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by Barry Church and Danny McCray here. McCray's in a spicy mood today. A lot of negativity coming from Danny, but
That's true. That's true.
That was off camera.
Good, man.
That was all. Keep it in the locker room, Newy. Keep it in the locker room, bro.
I'm just saying, Newy. You right. You right.
Keep it in the locker room.
We're talking about. Well, we're talking about your desire to already say that they should have, drafted an offensive tackle.
That's true.
Instead of drafting Micah Parsons. By the way,
I was screaming that. I screamed that from the Raptors all last year. That's no secret.
I think we did good with Parsons.
By the way, Rashawn Slater is having a good training camp apparently with the Chargers, and the Cowboys will see him week 2. So. Parsons, Slater, I think we should be able to see something on week 2, and then you can start to go from there.
No.
Hard Knocks episode 2 aired Tuesday night. What were your initial thoughts about the show? I'll start with you, Mr. Positivity, Danny McCray.
Listen, I think Hard Knocks is a little different now because it's the Cowboys. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I knew this was going to be the Zeke and Dak show.
Yeah,
it is literally all about Zeke and Dak. They did have my man in there. I forget his name.
Kamar
was it the
43, right?
Yeah. So they had him on there. They had a special little story on
Azur
him.
Kamara.
Which was great.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
To see some insight in there, see his mom at the game, dressed in her culture and all that stuff. I thought that was really amazing. And then right after that, you go back to Zeke, with his sunflower seeds. The whole game was about Zeke and sunflower seeds. So I'm like, I like the show. I like where they're going with it, but I really enjoyed the previous shows because they showed a lot more of those bubble guys and the lifestyle that they live and how much pressure they were under and trying to figure out if they were going to make the team. For me, because that's the position that I was in, I'd like to see more of that. But, it was good. Not much Mike McCarthy again. We saw a little bit of Jerry, but one of these days, we're going to see a little personality come from McCarthy and see what he's all about.
Yeah, one day we're going to see. I ain't going to lie. I'm thinking Hard Knocks right now is pretty boring. I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, what happened to the flair? I mean, like the previous Hard Knocks seasons, there was always, you get to see all the dudes joking around in the locker room, playing pranks on each other, just talking noise left and right, getting ready to line up, talking about I'm going to smoke you or I'm going to burn you, I'm going to lock you up. Like we saw a lot of that in them Hard Knocks seasons. Now it's just like a reality show. It's like keeping up with Dak and Zeke right now. And I understand, they're stars. They're, faces of the franchise. They're a couple stars in the NFL. Dak just got paid, all that good stuff. But, man, I want to see more, like you said, I want to see more of the bubble guys, what they're going through, because it's stressful for them right now. They're fighting and scratching and clawing just to make it onto the 53-man roster. So I'd like to see them dive more into that, into what they got going on, seeing how they pick up the playbook. Man, I don't know how I'm gonna perform this preseason game. See what these guys are going through. I think that'd be more authentic, and I think it would be a little bit better for TV. Right now, I feel like it's just a reality show right now, and like I said, you got to keep up with the stars. But I want to see a little bit more of those guys in the trenches, those guys that are battling for that 53-man spot, and show a little bit more camaraderie, show some more joking around with other people. I mean, I know there's more personalities than Zeke and Dak out there. We got some funny cats on the team, so I think it's pretty boring so far, but I did like Azur Kamara's part in the show where, you know, his family got to see him for the first time playing in the National Football League, first time watching him play, and he ended up going in there and getting a would-be game-winning sack, but Arizona's fall started, and it ended up giving him life again. But I think it was, I think that part of the show was definitely great and definitely worth watching. But so far this season, I'm kind of bored with it, Newy.
I will say, I do also want to see more competition.
Yes.
We ain't seeing one-on-ones.
We ain't seeing none of that.
We saw the mojo moment for the last episode. We ain't seen, in any of those moments to where it's pressure situations and you see like a CD going against Trayvon Diggs. Like, we should see that repeatedly.
Yes.
We should see Michael Parsons going against Zeke, in one-on-ones. We should be able to watch that and see the reaction on how it happens, see how excited one is to win and how they do talk smack to each other. After. Like, we haven't been able to see any of that. It's really been, like I said, Zeke
keeping up with Zeke. But I will say this. I do like what they did with DeMarcus Lawrence and his family, how they saw him, at the beach and all that. It kind of got to humanize these guys to where, everybody just kind of sees them as football players, football 24/7, and we kind of got to see, a little bit of light into, DeMarcus Lawrence and how his family is and how they can make it a tradition to come out to Oxnard. So I like that part as well. But like you said, man, we got to see some more competition. I want to see some more hits, people getting thrown, fights, something.
No, we haven't seen much of it.
All right, since you guys are TV producers now.
He asked us the question,
So I'm going to defend the show a little bit in this way. Number one, I don't know what they can and can't do because of COVID protocols. Mm-hmm. Because if you remember in some of the episodes they did last year, they went to guys' houses and they got to hang out with them. So you haven't seen too much of that. They did show you in CeeDee Lamb's, residence in hotel room, and you saw Zeke there. So that part I do wonder about. And here's a really, really big part that most folks don't know. And I found this out because I was sitting around talking to Rich Dalrymple at the media party, and he said he has to go. He's like, I got to get back because I have to edit Hard Knocks. And we were talking to the Hall of Fame. He's like, I got to get back. So Rich is basically in there. Rich is the Turk for Hard Knocks, where he goes in there and says, take that out. That's not going to be in here. Oh. And so I do wonder how much of the eraser has he gone in there for? Now, I know Rich and McCarthy are boys. They're both Pittsburgh guys. I mean, they're boys.
Shout out to the Bird.
So if there was something that may not have made McCarthy look good, maybe did Rich say, nope, I don't want that in there because I don't want McCarthy to have, to ever look like Hugh Jackson did and Campo did during Hard Knocks. Because Dave Campo and Hugh Jackson did not come off good. And I know that's been an issue for McCarthy. They want to make sure the guy looks good. So I do wonder how much creative control the Cowboys have exhibited in making this really, in episode 2, in my opinion, just kind of a snoozer.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I didn't realize that, they got to go in there and kind of erase some of the stuff. So maybe they did take some of the juicy stuff out. But I don't know, man. I still think it's kind of boring right now, and they need to go ahead and show a little bit more competition. What you think about that?
Yeah,
man?
Listen, I don't think Rich is going in there telling them not to show the bubble players.
He took out some of them speeches.
Yeah, he might be going in there telling them, how to make McCarthy look, how to make Jerry look. But as far as what we're asking for, showing competition on the field, like, we already know they're not going to show us plays and schemes and stuff based off what we saw at last season when they did the Cowboys night, and we all went to watch it on TV and we just saw the sideline. So we know they're not going to show that, but we're just asking for straight competition, competitive reps, seeing these guys in their competitive element, and then seeing their reaction to that. Right, some of the best stuff that we saw with Dez when they went all or nothing was his competitive spirit.
You can't guard me.
Yeah, and then you seeing the other players like, who you talking to?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get like people enjoyed that. They want to see that fire, and they love you for that. And I don't feel like we've seen that from anybody. Like, we see Parsons talking a lot about football, but outside of that, we haven't seen anybody get into that type of element.
Hey, McCray, were you here when Aiden was kind of just like a quality control guy?
You weren't here?
Oh, man. And that's what cracks me up about it the most. Like, when I look at Aiden and how far he's climbed, because he's a defensive line coach now, but when I was here back in, I think it was 2014, because it was right before you got back in 2015, he was like a quality control guy. He was just, helping out on scout team, running routes for us, and to see him kind of grow into that defensive line coach, and it's hilarious to me, man.
Mr. Positivity, I gotta do it.
Let me see, man.
Was Big Cat here when Aiden was here, running around on quality control?
Yes.
Okay, I'm like,
yes.
Couldn't, okay.
Big Cat
so now,
was here, and Big Cat has been here since then in the trenches with those guys. But I ain't gonna dive too deep into that. But,
all right, just checking. Because I saw him with the bags and stuff. I was like, oh, that's Big Cat. Okay, he's not the D-line.
He's Aiden's assistant.
Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, listen, you got to do what you got to do.
Guess so.
I'll defend it in this sense, because we spoke about this before. And when I said whatever coordinator you brought in here, you needed to let him bring in his guys who could teach his system. So Aiden was with Dan Quinn in Atlanta, and Big Cat and Dan Quinn don't have a working relationship. So based on it's atrocious as what we saw from Mike Nolan last year, I felt that Dan Quinn should be able to get his guys, and he did on the front and the back ends. And Dan Quinn, if you're out there at training camp like I was, you see him doing a lot of work with the D-line. So he's actually making sure that Aiden is getting more what he wants done. So I'm defending it that way because I just felt like they needed to give the defensive coordinator what he needed to. And I saw what they did with Chris Richard. And Chris Richard wanted to bring in his own linebacker coach, Michael Barrow. And they were like, nah, we already got a guy who's here. And that didn't work out at all.
Yeah, that's true. I guess when you come in, it was Ben Bloom. Yeah, Ben Bloom. So I guess, I mean, you want guys that come in, to teach your system that's been under your system. So I can understand that for sure. But I got a question for both of y'all. Does it seem like to y'all that most defensive coordinators are D-line coaches? Because, I mean, it was Rob Ryan. It was Marinelli was our DC. He was a D-line coach. Right. Dan Quinn's the DC. He's a D-line coach. When I was in Jacksonville, our DC, he was a D-line coach. I mean, it just feels like...
I will say this. I had Mel Tucker, who was defensive backs.
Oh, he was D-backs? I've never had a defensive backs coach be the DC, because then everything would favor the secondary.
Absolutely.
And we never had that. Everything here was always been about we got to put the defensive line in the best position they can be in, and y'all just feed off of that. I just always wondered if it was like that. But I guess since you got a DB coach, I mean, I guess it is different.
Sound a little jealous there, Church. You sound a little jealous.
I'll tell you, they put us in some advantageous positions. All right.
Well, I'll go back to Mike Zimmer was here. He was a DB's coach. He was a coordinator. Dave Campo was a DB coach before he became the coordinator on their Super Bowl 30 team. So they've had guys who've been defensive back coaches in the past. So we have seen that. Brian Stewart, who was defensive coordinator under Wade his first year here. Brian was a defensive backs coach when he came over from the Chargers. So it's there. And then, of course, you start looking at Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. These guys were DB coaches during their time. So
that's true.
So we've seen Tom Landry, and people forget Tom Landry was a former defensive back at the University of Texas and in the NFL, then became the Giants defensive coordinator and helped put in that flex defense. So
I think what Church is saying is if when he was here, if we would have had a defensive coordinator that was a DB coach, he would have never got to go to Jacksonville because he would have got paid. They would have showed him that respect. But, it didn't happen. So they ended up paying D-Law $100 million. They paid D-Wade. They paid other guys on the defensive line before they would pay defensive backs because the defensive coordinator was a D-line coach. I feel you, bro.
The safeties ain't been paid here since. I mean, who was the last safety that got paid here? Was Sensabaugh?
Sensabaugh.
And they got rid of him right after they paid him. So, I mean, so I pretty much knew I wasn't going to get paid here. I knew I was on the way out. That last year, it was a wrap.
No, don't let Church fool you. They paid you while you were hurt.
Oh, no, they got the discount double check on that one. But they did look out for me because I was coming in with the Achilles. I signed my contract rolling in here on a scooter. So shout out to Jerry. They looked out
he
for
didn't shave or nothing, man. Came in.
I had the what was my man? The George Jefferson. I had the George Jefferson with the beard going. It wasn't a good look, but I was on trying times back then.
So the Cowboys will take on the Houston Texans Saturday night at AT&T Stadium. It is the technical dress rehearsal. Mike McCarthy has already said that no starters are going to play in that last preseason game against Jacksonville. They will treat that as a game for guys trying to make the team. Dak Prescott is not going to play. Mike McCarthy said he wouldn't be surprised if he didn't see any snaps, which is just, you guys have been around the block. He's not playing. Ezekiel Elliott's not playing. How do you feel about 2-1-4, basically 21-4, 2-1-4, not getting any snaps in the preseason? And their first action is going to be against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 1.
Well, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Before Dak's injury to his shoulder, I would have been like, man, come on, we got to get this guy at least one or two series in this whole preseason because he hasn't played in such a long time. He hasn't been around live bullets in such a long time. But after that injury to his shoulder, I don't think the risk doesn't outweigh the reward, or the risk, whatever. Either way, it doesn't make sense to me because if he goes out there and let's just say he suffers some fluke injury. I mean, the whole season's down the drain. And if he doesn't, I mean, he played a preseason game, which doesn't matter. So to me, and the Dak thing, I have no problem with him not playing. Zeke, on the other hand, I mean, he hasn't played in the preseason game since his rookie year, maybe. And in each year after that, it's been a decline. I just want to see him go out there and at least get one or two series out there. I'm not saying he has to play the whole game or get 15 carries or anything like that, but just let him get his feet wet a little bit. Let him get acclimated to being out there. I don't want him to go out there against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is a fierce defense. That ain't no defense that's just, Johnny come lately or whatever type of defense. This is a fierce defense out there. I don't want him to go out there and just be, shell-shocked and getting his head knocked off out there. So I'd like to see him get a couple reps, but he's not going to do it. Hopefully he comes into that Tampa Bay game ready to roll because he won't have any preseason snaps.
I'm kind of opposite of Church on the Zeke thing. 17-game season.
That's
the
true.
way that I expect them to play and I hope that they play is that this guy gets more snaps, more runs than he's gotten in his entire career, right?
That is true.
What we know about Zeke is if you feed him and he's protecting the ball, he's going to make some plays, all right? Mm-hmm. And when it comes to Dak, I would honestly rather see Dak go out there and play like garbage the first 2 games because he didn't play in the preseason than risk him going out there and playing in the preseason and getting hurt. Mm-hmm. If he goes out there and he has a slow start because he hasn't played in real live snaps since he got hurt last season, I am totally okay with that. We've all agreed that the first 4 games anyway, we should be a very run-heavy team. All right, so let Dak ease back into the game, give him some easy throws to get him ready to go, and I think he'll be fine. Okay. One thing we know about Dak is we have not seen him go out in a season and not put up some of the best quarterback numbers that we've ever seen. He's been doing it since he got into the league. So
that's true.
I doubt that it would change this year. He's going to be a little rusty, but I'm not worried about it. Leave him on the sideline. Leave Zeke on the sideline because, in all honesty, our entire season depends on those 2 guys.
That is very true. Newy?
And you've got Amari Cooper, who will play against the Houston Texans. Number 19 practicing this week, says he is going to play. Your thoughts?
Listen, I'm glad you brought up Coop because the last time I was on the show, I remember we were talking about how Coop's going to be the number 1 because Dak's comfortable with him. And I meant to bring that up about Hard Knocks. Say what you want to, though. But when I was hearing those clips of Dak talking about what CeeDee Lamb could do, I was like, new number 1 guy. He said he's an easy guy to throw the deep ball to because he just runs up under that thing. And you just see him looking in awe as he watched CeeDee Lamb make all these spectacular catches and route these guys up. He's looking at CeeDee like, I can't wait to get out there and be able to throw this guy in the real game because we're going to do some real damage. I'm looking at seeing CeeDee Lamb by the end of the season being the number 1 option on the Dallas Cowboys team.
Ain't no way.
In the receiving corps.
Ain't no way. Like I love CD and what he's bringing to the table. I think he's definitely poised to make that year 2 jump, and he's going to be one of the best. But I think he'll be a 1B or maybe a 2. I mean, we can't forget about Cooper here. I mean, this is a guy, 5 of the last 6 seasons, he's went over 1,000 yards. I mean, this guy, he's a legit receiver.
Was Miles Austin here when Dez got here?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, because Miles Austin was 1, Dez was 2, and quickly in that season, Dez became the number 1.
He did.
Okay,
he did.
I'm seeing that now. It didn't take anything away from Miles.
Yeah,
it ain't taking nothing away from Coop. But what we're seeing as far as OTAs and training camp from CD, you can't deny that it's been great. It's been great to watch. So I can see this happening where Dak gets in there and he's throwing it to CD and CD becomes that guy. And we already saw last season that Kellen Moore is willing to put CD Lamb in those situations when it's crunch time and get him the ball. And that was his rookie season. So Kellen Moore's watching him this year like, oh yeah.
What you got?
All right. Let me interject here. Because you guys are safety. So tell me this. These 2 guys line up. Who are you going to double cover? 19 or 88?
I think it'll be easier to double 88 because he's in the slot. And what you can do is you can have that nickel on the outside. You can have a linebacker kind of banging him on the inside. You can have somebody dropping, maybe a defensive lineman dropping to kind of skewer his inside route. So I think it's easier to double a slot guy. than it is to double guy on the outside. Because if you double guy on the outside, let's say you got a corner and a safety over there, that safety's going to be leaning. So that quarterback already knows, all right, well, he's doubled out there, so let me see what options I got over here. When the guy's in the slot, defenders can disguise that
Hold
double
on,
a lot.
that's not what Newy's asking you, okay? If Amari Cooper's at the X and CeeDee Lamb is at the Z, who are you doubling is what he's asking. Okay, that's what he's asking.
Coop.
That's what he's asking.
I'm doubling.
I'm absolutely
Coop.
not.
You ain't gonna double Coop?
No. It depends on downs and distance and all that stuff. But I'm going to CeeDee right now. I think on the first couple games, you'll see that CeeDee is going to be more explosive than Amari Cooper, especially since Amari Cooper has missed all this time and is coming off of surgery. CeeDee Lamb is going to be the guy that you need to stop. Kellen Moore is going to make sure that CeeDee Lamb is getting the spotlight in this offense. You just watch and see.
That man's getting $20 million on the right side. Cooper's getting 20. You think they're going to just be like, $20 million down the drain?
Who ran the over route on fourth and 3 last season? That was CeeDee Lamb, who they got the ball to. It was specifically to him. Hey, man, let's get 88 the ball. That was his rookie year. This is the second year. It's going to happen.
Ain't no way.
Okay. So let me throw this out here and just not calling them these tandems, okay? I'm not calling them these tandems, but I'm just going to throw out 2 tandems where you had a number 1 guy who then got joined by a younger guy, and we saw how they were able to kind of flip-flop it a little bit. You saw Chris Carter then get joined by Randy Moss, and you saw what they were able to do there. We saw Anquan Bolden then get joined by Larry Fitzgerald with the Cardinals. So we've seen where, and then over with the Rams, you had Isaac Bruce, who was established one, and then they drafted Torrey Holt. And we saw what they were able to do there. Could we be talking in terms that the Cowboys may have this similar situation with an Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb?
Oh, without a doubt, I think. I mean, if they continue to play off each other like they have, I mean, they could be one of the top duos in the National Football League. I mean, the only team that may have a better duo, Tampa Bay with Godwin and Evans.
But in
Tennessee with Brown and Julio Jones. But, I mean, you may throw in, the Vikings with Jefferson and Thielen. But other than that, I mean, I don't really see, a tandem that's better than what we got here in Dallas. And you see how we're just excluding Gallup in all this conversation. I'm telling you what's going to happen. He going to start getting these clippings and going to be like, man, hold on, man.
Listen, all due respect to Gallup, we're talking about who can possibly be the number 1 receiver on this team, all right? All due respect to him, it's between CeeDee and it's between Amari Cooper. And I'm still of the mindset of, throughout this season, I think we're going to see if CeeDee Lamb continues to play like he's been playing in training camp, he's going to be the guy. The guy is showing me. I hate to say it because I'm not there. I'm not on the field watching it. But I'm seeing on these highlights some Dez Bryant type stuff.
Oh, here we are. Dez Bryant?
Hey, come on, man. Did you not see the one-hander in the back of the end zone?
Dez might be one of the greatest 50-50 ball catchers of all time.
I said type stuff that we've seen.
Right.
When Dez first came and he was in that training camp, we all looked and said, that guy right there is special.
That's true.
When you're watching CeeDee Lamb, the only thing I'm hearing out of training camp is this guy is having a year. We even saw the playmaker come on and say that.
That's true.
On Hard Knocks. This dude is going to be a star making these plays. I mean, who are we to say, more that we know more about playmakers than my man, the playmaker?
The 88.
I'm just saying.
Is true.
You didn't hear him say nothing about Coop.
That's true. That's true.
You are look, Danny, you're right, and I was there for so many of those practices, and yeah, I mean, he is a different level. And I look at this. I think we're going to go back. In the next 5 years, we're going to go back and look at this draft, and we'll talk about what a great class of receivers that are there. Jefferson, we've already saw what he did last year with the Vikings. It was a sensational rookie year. CeeDee Lamb in his second year is taking that step. Out in San Francisco, Brandon Ayuk, who had a really good rookie season, and he was like CeeDee Lamb, where they went through 4 quarterbacks last year. This guy is taking a step there. I think Jerry Jeudy, once Denver figures out a quarterback here, Jerry Jeudy is going to be a heck of a wide receiver here. And if the Raiders can figure out how to hit Henry Ruggs deep, I think he's going to be another receiver, which you'll kind of go back and say, well, where's Jalen Reagor of Philadelphia? I mean, they had quarterback issues as well. So I think this receiver class will look here in 5 years and say, man, this is one of the best classes of wide receivers we've seen in a long, long time. And CeeDee Lamb is going to be a very special guy, worthy of the 88 jersey. And that's saying something in my opinion. When you say a guy is worthy to wear the 88 jersey, he's got that kind of potential, man.
Let me ask y'all a quick question. Let's just say he balls out this year and, they say, all right, Amari, we got our new number one. It's been real. We'll let you slide. Do you think he can do it by himself, or do you think it'd be kind of like a Juju Smith-Schuster situation where AB left and then all the coverage went to Juju and he went dramatically downhill? Do you think he can do it by himself?
From what I'm hearing, CD Lamb, who was doing it by himself in training camp, is looking like an absolute star.
Okay.
All by himself.
I agree. I agree. I'm just throwing it out there. I agree, though. I agree.
So I'm okay with CD versus Juju Smith. I'm okay with that.
I agree with y'all. I'll just throw in a question now. What you think, Newy?
Here's a better perspective on that from what you just said. I'm watching Ben DiNucci throw touchdown passes and Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert. They're throwing them to CeeDee Lamb. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'll just throw it to 88. He's coming up with some more crazy catches. And that's how these guys are actually winning some of these mojo moments. So if he's doing that with those dudes, imagine what he can do with Dak Prescott and over 17 football games. So I just really believe we're going to look back and talk about how special some of these wide receivers were in that class of 2020. And I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be right there. I'm telling you right now, between Jefferson, Ayuk, and CeeDee Lamb, if you're in fantasy football drafts, if you can get these guys, one or two of these guys on your football team, I think you're going to feel really good because that second-year leap they're going to be able to make because they've had a training camp. I think that's also been a big thing, too, for CeeDee Lamb, to be actually out there and to be able to be coached and be in meetings. The kid is taking a tremendous leap in his development. So the hype is real. So many times I think guys who put the star in their helmet get overhyped. But there's no bull jive with this, man.
But speaking of hype, how much money did Ben DiNucci pay HBO? Okay, because he never looked so good than he did on that last episode. Wow. Okay, how much money did my man? I was watching. I said, man, I was like, I really in my head was saying, was I wrong about DiNucci? That's how good he looked. On the show, I swear.
HBO got painted a picture for you,
huh? The man was running all around every corner, game-winning touchdown. They painted it with the music, chess master. I was like, man, listen, was I wrong about the guy?
You wasn't wrong.
I'm just saying.
You was not wrong.
That's how editing can get you.
That's how
editing can get you, man. TV producer, man. Somebody, DiNucci done slid some money in his pocket. Okay. Hey, man. Oh, he over there talking to Rich.
Hey.
Him and Rich are very, very tight.
Hey, DiNucci is from Pittsburgh. Hey, Pittsburgh connection. Shout out to the Bird. Shout out to the Bird. You already know.
DiNucci reminds me of those Church's chicken commercials I see, man. I sit up there and look at the Church's chicken commercials. Oh, man, that don't look like it. Oh, they got some spicy jalapeno. Then and I don't ever. Church's is not my spot. I don't like Church's, man. But you see the commercial, you're like, well, maybe I ought to try it, man, because it got that little spice. Maybe they didn't step up their game at Church's. Then roll through there, man. Like, man, this is what did I do?
The whole building dirty, everything dirty about Church.
Oh,
the tenders ain't crispy like on a commercial.
Right. So that's Ben DiNucci, man. Ben DiNucci's at Church's commercial, like, what? I knew it, but I got fooled. Can't get fooled again. So I don't think Ben DiNucci's gonna make this football team. I expect him to be cut. I do.
You don't even think practice squad?
They'll cut Ben DiNucci and. That's a good question. It's a good question.
I think Cooper Rush is gone. Like, Cooper Rush is out of the game. I think he's gone. But
yeah, absolutely.
But DiNucci might get a little practice squad in there. Hey, McCarthy at Pittsburgh, dude. It's a Pittsburgh.
Bro, get off of that. Get off of that. Get off of that. Get off of that. Get off of it.
It's all about the bird. Man, we going overtime. We almost 10 minutes over, man. My bad, CB.
Exactly. Okay, that's the Players Lounge for this week. Barry Church, Newy Scruggs, we appreciate you. Chris Beam behind the scenes making everything happen. Our boy Boykins making sure we get the retweets out there. We will chat with you next week right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?